Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie, and I lead the global events team at Image Skincare. I'm thrilled to be moderating today's panel. We are connecting beauty executives to discuss the current state of the spa industry, business building strategies, and how to manage client expectation during this unprecedented time. I will moderate a dynamic set of questions geared towards our panelists. However, at the end, we will open the session to your questions. Please type your questions throughout the session in the chat box by clicking the chat icon below. If your question is geared to a specific panelist, please note that in your chat. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Before we dig in, I'd like to properly introduce today's panel. Joining us today is Dave Goldstein, CEO of Image Skincare. Dave joined Image Skincare in May 2019 as Chief Executive Officer. He has extensive experience in the professional skincare field, having held executive leadership positions with prominent companies including Dermalogica US, PCA, Obagi, Allergan, and Johnson & Johnson throughout his 30-year-plus career. Prior to joining Image, Dave was the general manager of the US division of Dermalogica, where he led and developed all aspects of sales, marketing, education, and sales operation. Dave has a master's degree in business administration and served in the United States Marine Corps from 1983 to 1987. Dave is originally from Boston, and we are happy to have him here in sunny South Florida. Next on our panel is Adam Ross. Adam is currently the president and CEO and chairman of the board of HeyDay. He was formerly a principal and founding member of investment bank Centerview Partners, where he focused exclusively on the consumer products, beauty, and retail sectors. Prior to HeyDay, Adam co-founded Saludos, a footwear and accessories brand based in New York and currently sits on the Saludos board. Adam is also a partner of the investment firm Protea and sits on the board of Serena & Lily, a lifestyle home brand. Adam has an MBA from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, and has also earned the right to use the CFA designation. Our next panelist is Monique Hicks, founder and CEO of Vitality Medspa and Plastic Surgery Center in Georgia. Monique oversees all aspects of the clinic. She believes she has found the perfect niche that allows her staff to blend preventative and proactive treatments, helping clients bring out their best. In addition to her professional roles, Monique prides herself on the long-standing relationships she has with her clients and the impeccable reputation she has attained with them. Monique is highly regarded and sought after by industry leaders and executives in the field of aesthetic skincare when they require aesthetic education. Monique's personal integrity is the foundation of Vitality Medspa's success. Welcome next Lisa Richards, founder and owner of Skin Boss. Skin Boss is a full-service aesthetics practice in Lisa attended Mandolin Academy School of Aesthetics in 2001 and has been working as an esthetician with a passion for skincare and the wonderful topics that assist it since 2002. She has worked in the salon environment the whole of her career, where she initially had to familiarize people with what an esthetician is. Her passion is educating clients, wanting them to understand the why and how of skincare and see the purpose and value. She truly gets gratification from the positive impact aesthetics has on clients, especially when they see their best skin emerge. Please welcome our panelists, and thank you for taking time with us today. Let's begin. So, just 1 second. Okay. So let's begin with those questions. Thank you again for joining us. So the first question I'd like to ask each of you, what is the current state of the spa industry in your opinion? Monique, let's begin with you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So the current state of our industry is, in my opinion, better than ever. We're dealing with some definite challenges. So for instance, in our practice, we are only open 3 days a week, where we were typically open 6 days a week. We also have reduced hours. However, the clients that are coming in, they are purchasing more than ever. They're getting on treatment plans for extended periods of time. We also do cosmetic injectables. and people are doing a lot more than they typically would have done. So people are spending more, they're tipping incredibly well. They're so grateful to be able to be back, feel really good about themselves to have the services that we offer.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that. So I will ask Dave, what do you think the current state of the spa industry is in your opinion? It seems we have lost Dave.
No.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna move on to Adam while we get Dave back on. Adam, could you please answer what is the current state of the spa industry in your opinion?
Yeah, I think beyond echoing what Monique just said, I think where this, I think there are silver linings certainly to be taken from obviously an environment where there's huge humanitarian issues and concerns out there. But I think to add to that beyond, you know, how clients are engaging and still wanting that high touch one-on-one experience within their skin, I think for us at HeyDay, I think it's a really interesting opportunity to, with the pause we've had in the last few months with our shops, to think creatively around where we can leverage and extend the fantastic work that our estheticians do on a daily basis and take some of that outside of the treatment room. And I think for us, one thing that we've always stood for is where we can like leverage our greatest asset, which are our estheticians. And for us, that's been, you know, around like one-to-one consultations where there's like an affiliate program and they can benefit on clients purchasing products online. You know, we launched a HeyDay University. So I think generally it's helping us to think more creatively about, you know, our estheticians a much stronger and broader platform to do their best work. And clearly nothing can replicate that high touch, in-person experience. I think broadly speaking, estheticians are reasonably, they're an underappreciated employment class. So if that lets us like lean in and do better by them with other opportunities to engage with clients, and that's a win. So I think that creativity has been really helpful for us, and both short and long term, that's going to be, I think, a real positive for all involved.
Thank you. And Lisa, I'm going to ask you, but before you answer, I'm going to ask if the panelists can go on mute while you're not speaking, because there seems to be some feedback. Thank you. So Lisa, I'm going to ask you, and then we'll move to Dave, who is not off mute, who is now off mute. So Lisa.
So I see as a whole, the spa industry is really inconsistent though. So we each have these individual experiences, maybe based on demographic, but it's inconsistent because we're seeing like where we are in Utah, a little more, not lax, but we were able to open in May and some states are barely coming to open now. So part of it is first like, you know, kind of a financial side or just keeping a door open despite how a client or that group is feeling. We're looking at just the things we do not have control over, that people are trying to recover from long-term closures. And like we said, it's unprecedented. So this is just something not foreseen, how to recover from it, which is a lot of the purpose of all this. But then with reopening, I was actually surprised because that demand did not dwindle. I thought maybe the financial aspect, maybe the economy that would play into it, but overriding that was this like the need to feel good, and that is where the money is going, is like maybe it's a little bit instant gratification in that terms of the feel. So maybe, and also the products, we, you know, did not see a decrease in the product purchases. So it is like the more our industry almost has more focus, demand, appreciation than I felt it did before. So I didn't feel like we are suffering on that side.
Thank you. Dave, could you please answer the question where you believe the spa industry is now today?
Yeah, thanks, Leslie, and hello, everybody. So we did a survey back on June 22nd and got over 2,000 responses from our customers, and it gave us a good perspective on where we believe the industry was at that point. And it's probably not changed dramatically, and hopefully it's not diminished a little bit with the recent outbreaks. But the first question was, have you reopened for regular business, either full or part-time, for treatments and retail services? And only 72% of our accounts, and we've got a large base of account with over 2,000 answers. It's probably a pretty good statistical response. 72% had opened at that point in time, whereas 28% had not as of June 22nd. The second question was, how full is your appointment schedule as compared to your bookings pre-COVID? And in that case, about 60% of their schedules were booked. Now that may be due to shorter time schedules, more cleaning, and also, of course, just limited client availability. But interesting, and I think right in line with what we had kind of forecasted it may be upon return. The third question was, what percentage of your clients, those are clients coming into your business, have expressed concern when receiving treatments, even with the safety precautions in place? And still, from the survey, 30% of the clients who were actually getting treatment still expressed concerns with safety and had questions concerning safety. And again, those obviously aren't the clients that are coming in because they're refusing to come in so far. So hopefully that's get better. And then finally, more of a self-serving question we asked, if you have reopened for treatments, do you plan on continuing the use of virtual appointments, drop shipping, which is something that we've offered, or curbside pickup? And that was about 50% had said yes. So even though they're open, they still planned on using, 50% planned on using curbside pickup, drop shipping, or virtual appointments. And I think that's to meet the needs of those clients that are still fearful of coming in. And we know that still exists out there. Overall, though, as a company, we saw a strong rebound in June after a very tough April. May was a bit better. May was still significantly below last year, but June was actually ahead of last year. So far as July, businesses appears to be flat to slightly down from last year. The good news is, though, we certainly as a company with our large base of accounts have some visibility now, and there's some daily predictability in the business. And with the international business, where in the EU, they've had very good results so far in limiting future spreads. We've seen very strong business, in fact, trailing ahead of last year so far. So I think if the more we get this under control, the more we can see resumption and more normalized business. So, okay, hopefully that helps.
It does. Thank you, Dave. Great answer. Okay, so next question. Adam, what strategies are you putting in place to get clients back to spa?
Yeah, we may be a little unique relative to everyone else because 70% of our business is in New York, which unfortunately has been excluded from any reopening plans. So we're, side note, working to lobby the New York governor's office to change that for a number of reasons. But I think, Leslie, one thing around HeyDay is I think like the data and touch points that we've always had since day one with clients outside of the treatment room. Every facial that we've performed at the company since day one, there's detailed intake form and client information. Our estheticians perform a detailed skin analysis. So there's a lot there that we can use to check in. So it's not just an email in terms of, hey, we're open for business. So generally we're seeing, most of our clients that have seen us before in Los Angeles where we can open, are rebooking and coming back in. So, our appointments aren't where they were pre-COVID, given the sanitation and increased turn times, and we've truncated the hours a little bit. But, for us, it was more just extending the touch points that we've had previously. And I think we'd also done a good job of staying in touch throughout COVID with the right, tips and tricks and product recommendations for them to still uptake their skincare routine outside of the treatment room. So for us, I think we've got that relationship that makes it a bit more seamless to get people back in the doors. And that's what we're seeing.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to also ask the same question to Lisa and Monique. Lisa, I'll ask you first.
Got to unmute. Sorry. It's interesting because though we are in different areas, it seems we'll probably have some overlapping assets here. Like communication has been the number one. And fortunately, a lot of what we had in place prior became what we totally relied on. So that was through whether certain things with social media, really staying connected, almost keeping some kind of virtual face-to-face, but then with our clients, relying a lot on our communication software. So there wasn't just like, you know, trying to leave some phone call or, you know, there wasn't really a disconnect because even when we were closed, it was still, you can message in the spa. We've got a messaging board here. Your esthetician can answer if they're wondering what they could be doing in the meantime. So we could still keep it personal, and that has really allowed a smoother transition. I'd say we have seen very few people say, oh, wait, you're open? We've had like maybe 2 people total who didn't know that. And it was more trying to like readjust when they had a treatment plan. It was readjusting to accommodate them. But I also see, it's interesting because I said, we gotta be flexible when we reopen as far as meeting people where they're at, because it's like whatever their schedules and lifestyle was before, like throw that out the window because it's all a new game now. So we're meeting them where they're at. And initially a lot of people, it was great because they were like, I work from home, I'm totally open anytime, you know? So that was actually a benefit. But then as some things are resuming, we've had, I did not think it would become a thing, but we started accommodating a few people on like couple treatments, like families, because families, they were in the same household. It worked, it was fine. So we're, you know, doing a little duo in the treatment room. And then we've had more people want that because the social experience is very limited still. They're not going out with coworkers and neighbors and friends. And so we've had sisters come in, moms bring daughters, just because they're also, there's not a lot of the extra, like maybe date or fun things. Or so moms bringing even young daughters in, some couples come together because it was something new. And that's generally not our type of businesses. We're not a spa-like in terms of just a one-day type of thing, but it did bring more in, and it was kind of fun to try it new.
Thank you. Monique, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Sure. So for us, we invested in the ability to text message our clients, and that has changed the game for us. We have about a 96% response rate when we text message our clients versus 24% with email. So we originally were just conversating that way, and then social media, you know, as well, but mainly sending our clients emails. And we just realized that is not going to work anymore. And text message was the best way. So if we have open availabilities in our schedule, we have somebody call, you know, cancel, we can put via text message or on social media, like on our IG or Facebook. Hey, we have an opening today at 3:30 for, you know, a hydrofacial or a, you know, baby lip plump, something like that. That has really made a huge impact for us. And, you know, typically our ideal client was 35 years of age and up, and that has changed dramatically over the last year to our clients are really closer to 14 and up. And we attribute that to social media. They're on Instagram, they see the before and afters, they realize the capabilities of what this industry has to offer, and it's getting to them. So investing in our IG page, posting as many before and afters as possible, and text message has been really the key factors for us in communicating with our clients.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about strategy and planning. Dave, will COVID and our new environment influence Image Skincare's new product launches?
That's a great question, Leslie. You know, as all brands right now are really trying to determine if you should launch now or wait until business is back and functioning normally. You know, it certainly initially when the virus first impacted us in mid-March, we went into, like many other companies, a cash preservation mode. We just didn't know how long this was going to go on, when business would come back. So any significant purchases like packaging or extra inventory builds were delayed for us. But once we started to have some visibility, which was and predictability, which luckily we started to see, really towards the end of April, but really in May, we began to resume some of the spending for new innovation. Of course, our internal formulation work never stopped because luckily that doesn't cost a lot of money. But, so then the question is, when do you launch? For us, we had always planned to launch on the fall for some of our new product introductions. They've been delayed a little bit because of that delay in our spending, but it won't be significant. But that being said, if we had plans to launch in April through June, we would have most definitely delayed, as there was no clients on our professionals' practices. So it just doesn't make sense to launch a new product at that time. We want our professionals to be the first to see them and recommend them. That being said, we did see some brands, which we didn't agree with as a company, launching to the consumer and then waiting for the professional to launch. So doing it backwards, which I'm sure in their mind, they were taking advantage of the rush from B to C to the consumer. But for us, it should always be the professional first. So hopefully that helps.
It does. Thank you. Appreciate the answer. Okay, so the next question. Lisa, how are you managing clients' expectations?
Sorry, trying to unmute every time. There is obviously, we all know our industry is really good at sanitation and all of that, but as I've tried to communicate with my staff is it has to be almost more visible now, not as a show, but so that there's kind of the proof of it. So we are, of course we wear masks and we go through all things most people are doing. We have to accommodate more time a little bit for cleaning in between and manage how many are in at once, and we invite people to wash hands when they come in. So we do those kind of precautions, but I feel very comfortable with the, how sanitary things are already. Excuse me, that's less of kind of the issue. And I found some of it is, again, it has shifted to a positive that when that's in place, we haven't had a lot of concern over that. And so we just reassure people in our state within the spa industry. And of course, if we're doing a face, clients aren't required to wear a mask. So some come in wearing masks and they'll say, am I supposed to do that? So we're reassuring them, nope, I wear a mask. You don't need to wear the mask. I'm washing my hands. I'm wearing gloves. I'm doing this. So there's a lot of reassurance. But what I also find is it's like the therapeutic quality has become the more coveted experience now, because when we've got a time of high stress and high tensions, it is exactly that. It's therapeutic, where people are needing something because the resources on that feel few of, how to feel good now. And so it's really tapping into that nature of the esthetician as well as really caring one-on-one. And that's another kind of trait within, we're one-on-one, we're not in a busy necessarily hair salon type of scenario, or we're one-on-one, it's clean in between. And so they're getting, I think, just an ideal, we'll say during post-COVID experience that is both clean and relaxing and calming and providing what they're looking for.
Thank you. Adam, I'm going to ask you the same question, knowing that you are dealing with two separate coasts, East Coast and West Coast, in two different environments. So how are you managing your clients' expectations?
Yeah, I think, echo what Lisa said around, what you do, I think sort of like in and around like the physical location. And we've got, contactless temperature checks. There's a few other things that clients need to do, like text when they arrive. We've removed the waiting area. I think something that we've also like layered into our experience, and we're clear around this like contact with everybody ahead of booking, was there's a series of questions that we actually ask our clients 24 to 48 hours before their appointments. Failure to answer any of those questions actually automatically cancels their appointment. And I think again, people have reacted well, where we've said up front, here are all the things that we're doing to make, your health and safety our number one priority. Here are our expectations of you, and this is how it's going to work from the pre-booking experience through to when you walk into the doors. And I think that the positive response we actually got to that online around what we're doing, knowing that there's an absolutely zero tolerance policy for anyone that is showing any symptoms or acknowledging anything that could be classified as a pre-existing condition. For us, it's erring on the side of safety. So again, none of our initiatives are going to be like 100% foolproof. So, you do what you can.
Thank you. Monique, I'm going to ask you the same question. How are you managing clients' expectations?
Sure. So I think a lot of it is being done when we're booking appointments. That was initially what everyone was doing. What are you doing? What are the protocols? And then to mimic what Lisa said, making sure that the sanitation items are out and people can see, they're very visible. In addition to that, we had an issue today, which was the first time we've been open in Georgia since April 29th. So we're really ahead of the curve as far as experience. But today was our first day that we had a staff member with a temperature. And it was where you immediately went into, here's what we've planned for. So somebody tests, with a temperature, whether symptomatic or asymptomatic, we immediately canceled her schedule. We informed all of the clients that she was going to be closing down. And so I think it's a lot about preparation. Not only what are you going to do, but in the event that something happens, in the event that you have a client that shows up and has an issue, or a staff member, having those protocols in place and knowing what to do before you get in that position helps to put people at ease. And then just reassuring clients that we are always sanitary. We always clean before and after each patient. We always wear gloves and masks. So much has not changed for us overall as far as sanitation. And when you reassure them like that, it goes a long way. And then you're able to give them that self-care that they really crave and need, and help to seal their expectations all the way around.
Thank you. Okay, so let's keep on topic of client expectations. Dave, Image Skincare clients are business professionals like Adam, Lisa, and Monique. What has Image Skincare done to ensure we continue to support our professionals in this new environment?
All right, I think we've done a lot, so I hopefully won't make this answer too long, but we've got a great team here, and certainly our number one priority was to ensure our professionals survive. As the vast majority, over 80% of our business is based on the professionals we serve daily, both in the US and internationally. The first major pivot was to upgrade our systems so our accounts could drop ship to their current clients. And we saw a lot of our professionals drop shipping, not only to current clients, but friends and family throughout the US. Thereby, our professionals could still earn the same margin, profit margin, as if they were selling directly from their business. We were able to make that change quickly, so we're up and running by the last week of March. But with that change, our order volume tripled, even though our average order size shrank by 2/3. So a lot of little orders, which we weren't used to. So it was a big change for us to adapt internally. In tandem with the system changes, the team launched all of the new support that many of you on this call took part in, both in education, a lot more educational webinars, virtual consultations, seminars, and the take-home treatment kits. And that was developed under our Age Later virtual program. As a big part of the Age Later virtual program was to driving consumers on our social channels and our own B2C to our account locator. And then we created the COVID-19 directory for all of those professionals who were drop shipping or having clients pick up in store so they could support their local professional esthetician's business. We've certainly heard a lot of great success from that. The next phase was getting back to business. In May, we launched our Image Forward Back to Business Playbook, which provided a lot of assets for our professionals to take advantage of as they open up, and numerous resources. That included providing personal protection equipment. We purchased now 100,000 masks. We've given out about 60,000 of the 3-ply masks to our professionals with each order, as well as a couple of thousand boxes of gloves, and those were just free with an order. And we plan on to continue doing that throughout at least this month, as long as we can keep our supply coming. So, and then some of the new initiatives that we just launched was, as you may have seen, is the $20 treatment rebate coupon that's completely funded by Image. That is to drive potential new clients to our professionals' practices. And then just yesterday, if you got to see Dr. Mark Ronit launched that the Image MD collection will be available for all professionals versus just the med spas and MD accounts. So that way, we felt the rationale behind that was to give our professionals, you know, what we believe is a very highly therapeutic collection to offer to their patients, offers to their clients, and really give them a new treatment regimen. So we really hope that helps and helps all of their business. So, thanks,
and I
Leslie.
think it did. All of the feedback that we heard, everybody was super supportive and appreciative of everything that we did. So I think it was very well received. Okay, so let's transition a little bit and talk about skincare trends. Lisa, what are the new trends in skincare in this environment? For example, maskne. Have you seen anything different that has stood out?
No, I've definitely seen maskne, but with that, a lot of people with just, it's not necessarily acne, but a lot of irritation. So we've seen a lot of just skin freak out, for lack of a better word, where, you know, I'm in talking to clients, because we get fairly personal with them, and I'm just saying, you know, when stress is high and people, their whole lifestyles change, they're worried about jobs and all of that. Like, it's totally legitimate and not a crazy idea that their skin is responding to this. So it's kind of like taken to, and not in like any type of just trendy way, but calming their skin and a focus on that let's really take care of what's happening with the skin. But I also think what really I saw as the biggest was the at-home facial. And I don't feel like that took away from what we do, and not what Image supported, and not how we're doing it. I saw from people who in other states were messaging me for help because they were buying advanced peels through their practitioner. So someone said, I bought a V peel, my skin is like been peeling for 12 days and it's horrible. And I'm like, this should never have been given to you, because this is why we have a professional. So I'm not in support of making everyone their own esthetician, but definitely in directing them. I think it's great that it became like a more enjoyable, sought out, maybe almost hobby, where more like at-home facials and masking, and a lot of desire for that, and we support it.
Thank you. Adam, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Have you seen any trends in this new environment?
I think it's probably, you know, trends that are a little more self-evident. You know, for us, I'd say we are seeing a much more, I'd say, broader purchase behavior beyond what we generally sort of term like the core foundational parts of the routine. I think sunscreen sales for us have been off, you know, us have been off a little bit, but people aren't going outside, and people want to look good for their Zoom calls. So I think we are seeing a bit more, I think, people leaning in on, you know, sort of toners and serums. You know, for us is up, and I think we're also seeing more purchases from males. I don't know whether that's a vanity metric, looking good for Zoom, but I think it's also one where it's clearly been such a turbulent few months, and I think, like, you know, skin is clearly reacting in different ways. So people are, I think, you know, much more conscious of this being a daily routine than maybe in the past, where there were certainly those diehard skin loyalists, but others that sort of dipped in and out and waited for something to occur. So, I mean, that's what we're sort of seeing at the highest levels.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Monique the same question. Have you seen any trends in your area?
Sure. So we've definitely seen a jump in retail. We're about 100% up in retail sales. So people really listening, taking the advice with the products that we're recommending. We've put together, and that's the beautiful thing about Image, is you can pull from every line and make sure the client gets exactly what they need. But we're able to put packages together of skincare, and we've been trying to do promos. So, give somebody a complimentary or medic lip gloss, something that, you can put into their package. What we're seeing is every time we do that, the person is coming back and purchasing that product for life. So that's a great trend that we're seeing, is a major uptick in retail, and then treatment plans. So typically we would have recommended previously maybe always their next service. I want to see you in, 4 weeks for microneedling, or, whatever you're going to recommend. Now clients are much more open to like a 6-month treatment plan. So we're utilizing a membership where we are able to actually get people in 1 to 2 times a month. And that is changing everything. And we've had this membership for years, but most people just booked out for their next service. So that is definitely a trend that we're seeing, about 6 months out in treatments, which is a nice revenue driver. We know what revenue we're going to be bringing in for 6 months out, and that is key to any business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so one last question before we move on to our attendees' question. So are there any top financial consideration to getting your business back to 100%? And this is an important question because our panelists cover all aspects of the industry. So Dave, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie. So a little bit going back a couple of months, certainly with Image, our initial concern was ensuring that we could survive financially. And I think a lot of businesses looked at that, again, not having the visibility. So we made the cuts necessary to ensure that even if our monthly revenue shrank by 70%, we could go as long as possible. I won't tell you how long that was, but it certainly wasn't into 2021 if that occurred without finding other sources. We quickly saw that by the end of April, that although the environment was very tough and we had burned some cash, significant cash in April, the trends were improving. I believe a lot of that improvement was, due to how well our professionals responded and working with their clients and working with the Image team. Now that after a strong June, we hope that additional outbreaks do not cause a repeat of March and April. We've almost recovered, so we're in a much better shape, certainly much better shape. But the future certainly recently has not become as visible as it was at the beginning of June, and we certainly still have some team members on furlough. We have brought the majority back. So I think until we can get back to 100%, I think we need to have the entire team back. We need to begin investing in the business. And we started to do some small investment in the business again on things that we held back in June and a little bit more in July. But I think its visibility is going to be key. And until we have visibility 6 months, 9 months down the road, I don't think we'll be 100% back. And I don't think any of us can say that, because I think we saw a very nice positive blip in May and in June. July is July, and July is always not a good time for any business, except if this year, maybe not if you're in the tourism business, but July is where it should be. So again, visibility will be key. So I'll leave you with that.
Thank you for the candid answer. Lisa, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yeah, I think this is the time to, in my opinion, not discount and devalue your service, because that's, I don't think, a great thing for the individual or the industry going forward, but rather focus on the quality of the service and some of those strategies we discussed. And so this was also a time where, like, I sat down with the accountant, look at hard numbers, kind of really figure it out. Granted, like Dave was saying, this change kind of month to month is really weird and projections are off, but it's the time to really look at the numbers carefully to know what adjustments need to be made, because now's the time to do that. So for us, we're not lowering prices, we're actually raising prices, but that's not like, oh, because we need to survive. It's because, oh, we weren't actually aligned properly anyways. Our profit margins were off. So this is the time, I had to cut ties with one partnership with the Met Office because it was not profitable. So it's where I have to make financial decisions for the spa that are going to give us that longevity. But yet at the same time, it's not about just cutting costs. I've invested in more equipment, education, anything we can do that is going to expand our offerings and improve our quality of service.
Thank you. Adam, I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah, I think my add to the current answers is, I think this environment again is an interesting one in terms of where you reassess and look at your cost structure, and I think challenge yourself on some costs that you had embedded in the business that if push came to shove, that you don't really need to have them. And there's I'm always a fan of quotes. There's a New Zealand physicist called Ernest Rutherford, and he was sort of a pioneer in physics, but he first split the atom. And I think when people asked him how he did it, given all the other, like heavily banked research facilities in the US, his response was, I didn't have the money, so I had to think. And I think I say that because I think for all of us as business owners, if revenue gets back to 100%, I think that's a question more of like when, not if. But if it is going to be like a protracted process, I still think we can be profitable by being far smarter about where we do cut costs, and to Lisa's point, like where you want to like reinvest. I think it can be tempting to have a knee-jerk reaction to revenue off, cut cost. I think that's a very short-term focus that doesn't result in longer-term success. But it's a balance. So for us, we're certainly leaning in and investing heavily in certain areas of our business. But there's other areas where it's like that wasn't a good use of capital, and we probably weren't thinking about it the right way, when the world was pre-COVID. So, humbling, I think, when you do look at that, but I think that's all part of, despite the sort of the short-term shittiness and frustrations that we're all experiencing, it's ultimately going to result in, I think, far longer-term, vitality for all of us.
Thank you. Monique, I'm going to ask you the same question. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Sure. So we, just like the other panelists said, we have taken a bird's eye view, what works and what doesn't work, what times worked, where, actually taking the time now to figure out, what does a service cost you per minute? Is it making sense? Are you making profit? Are you losing? Are people rebooking? Get into your analytics right now and figure out what the drivers are of your business. That's the beauty of having some downtime. In addition to that, we're preparing for the future because we really don't know what is going to happen. So we're taking advantage of every grant, every loan opportunity. If we don't use the money, great. But if we end up, coming to the second half of the year, and with the unpredictability, we want to make sure that we are not caught like we were several months ago, scrambling. And so the best advice that we were given is take whatever you can right now. I know there's a ton of PPP money still available that people haven't taken. So taking advantage of the PPP, the SBA loans, we have counties right now, just like the county that we're in just released $20 million in grants for businesses. We also live in a town where the business license, they granted every single business owner in the town $500 of a business credit for your license. So look and see what options are out there, take advantage of them, because those are going to be the things that if and when this comes again, you'll want that to fall back on. And making sure with unemployment as well, if you're reduced even partial, you can still apply for that and take advantage of those opportunities right now.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's dig into some of the attendee questions. So we've been monitoring the chat throughout. Yaso Murray, our CMO, has. Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask each of you a specified question that was tailored and asked specifically to you. So Dave, we'll start with you. How can we still generate revenue if our treatment schedule has dropped significantly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think as some of the panelists have mentioned, you really need to look at your treatments and value your treatments appropriately, or even do add-ons to your treatments and really take advantage of the amount of time you have and not do those treatments that aren't as profitable, not spend that time that isn't as profitable, because I'm sure there's a lot of time in your schedule that just doesn't make sense. So I think that's probably the best way. I mean, looking at it as time is money, and it really is. And I think it was Monique that said every minute they're measuring every minute. I think that was a huge aha. Not that we don't think about that, but to really break it down to the minute, because you only have so many minutes in the day, and you can only see so many clients.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so Lisa, I'm going to ask you this question. It was directed to you. What will you keep doing that you've learned from being quarantined or shut down, such as virtual consultations, drop ship? What things will live on?
Well, for sure, the virtual consultations, I had done them for 4 years prior to this. So I was grateful that we had that in place. And that remains for us because that extends our reach beyond the local, but even those within our state who are, some people 4 hours drive away, but virtual consultations definitely had a higher demand during quarantine. So that remains. I don't do drop shipping because I've done shipping for a few years, but we expanded our shipping department here at Skin Boss. So that I was very grateful also. It was at first it seems like, oh, I invested in a bigger space and all of this. I was worrisome, but I needed it. And so that was great. I would also just education as far as being still the business owner, yes, but the esthetician. So for me, it's like these split responsibilities. But yes, I'm also looking to become a better education in business. And I lean on a lot of different mentors and network who are totally not even in this industry, but have different insights, and then lean into my industry for the aesthetic education and really dive in. That's always something that has high value that improves the professional we are and extends to the service we do.
Thank you. Adam, I'm going to ask you this question. This was asked of you specifically. What was it like it's two parts. So what was it like for you to bring back your therapists, and with longer in between appointment times to sanitize the room, to sanitize your rooms, how will you make up the lost sales?
Yeah, I think we've made the strategic, I mean, in terms of bringing back the team, I think we found behavior that mirrors that of clients. I think you've got, around sort of 70 to 75% that are willing to come back today. I think others rightly, a little nervous and want to adopt a wait and see approach. I think generally, once those that return realize like the health and safety and what goes into creating a safe environment, it does alleviate the stress that others may have had. So like there's a little bit of that effect. We're leaning in and I think creating a lot more opportunities for revenue outside of the treatment room. So it alleviates that pressure, because I think we all want to be more strategic on where you can increase average order value and whether that's with an add-on or with like products like in the treatment room. But I think you can take it too far and it becomes a bit of an icky and off-putting experience. So, for us, we've got, like I said, a new program where our estheticians earn commission online. So we're doing that, and we're leaning in and being far more savvy digitally, which is driving, our e-commerce business up significantly. So I think it's a better balance between two channels, as opposed to necessarily being so reliant on what happens like in the treatment room or in the physical location.
Thank you. Okay, Monique, this question is for you. What is the stall spend appetite of your clientele, and are they looking for specials or are they ready to spend big dollars?
Sure. So our average client ticket is $72. And that is going to be based on, I think, majority retail purchases. But what we do is a lot of packages. So when we want people to come in, they're going to do a series of 3 microneedling with 3 hydrofacials, and we're going to have them come, every 2 weeks, hydrofacial, microneedle, and so forth and so on. And then with our injectables, it's just big packages. And so, for injectables, we did something right now. If they buy 2 syringes and 40 units of a neuromodulator, they get a free syringe. And so really a lot of this is giving back and talking to our vendors and saying, hey, we want to place orders with you. How can you help us to do that? And our vendors have been incredible. And so like right now, everybody who gets their lips done gets a free Ormetic lip gloss. Like I said, and that is, I know Lisa said not devaluing the services, but giving people that extra little bit, it goes such a long way. And it's incredible how many people have come back and said, hey, do they make that in any other colors? Or, can I get one? I want to put one in my car. I want to put one in my bedside and one in my purse. So they're coming back. We gave them one free, or we put it on post-treatment, and they're coming back and buying those products. And so that's really what we're seeing is those package deals people are investing in.
Thank you. So before we end today, I would like to thank our panelists for joining us. This has been a meaningful, robust session with a wealth of information. I'd like to thank the Image Nation viewers for attending and participating. At the end of these closing comments, I will display on my screen how to get in touch with the panelists. Be sure to check out our virtual Vegas event happening now on imageskincare.com. Don't miss premier education classes, founder sessions, and more. Log into your professional account to access the event discount only available through Monday. And don't forget about our super exciting announcement that we made yesterday. ImageMD is now available to licensed professionals and can be purchased on our website. Have a fantastic weekend and a skin-inspired day. Thank you.